Can you tell us a little bit of how the collaboration started and maybe what you were looking forward to reach out with this collaboration?
Yeah. So we're going back over 10 years at this point.
Right.
I just started playing bass in the band Periphery. That was the band I played in for quite a long time. And I actually came from the world of guitar.
Right. Yeah.
And the opportunity came to join as a bass player, and I needed to quickly learn what was out there that was suitable for really low tuning.
Right.
And I liked the sounds of basses like Fender Jazz basses, that kind of thing that had that certain kind of piano-like quality.
Right.
I really liked how that sounded distorted, but I couldn't find an example of that sounded really good and like that when it was very low. Like most 5 strings would sound great on the top 4. By the time you get to the low string, and then if you're tuning that down like we were, it wasn't really working. And then I came across Dingwall, and I actually tried at the time, they just launched the Combustion series, like the import model, fairly recently. And if you look at it, it is kind of like, you know, a jazz-based platform, but done with the multi-scale. And I was familiar with that from extended range guitars, and it made all the sense in the world to have a lot more length on the low string, because suddenly you could keep that tonality, both because of the tension, but also because you don't have to use a string super thick. And so suddenly trying that, it was like, this is amazing, because now I have that sound that I love across all of the strings, and it's even more piano-like and kind of grindy sounding. So that instantly was like, that's the sound, and I haven't used anything since, you know.
What about the combination of multi-scale and the pickups? Were there adjustments to the pickups that you wanted specifically to have to match, you know, the tension and the sound that you wanted to reach?
Yeah, so we didn't play with the pickup winding. We didn't play with the model of the pickup. But what did happen is I tried one of the Canadian-made basses. It was an afterburner that had 3 pickups on it that allowed for some interesting switching, including the 2 closest to the bridge in series, so double the output.
Right, sure.
And that was like, for me, I was like, wow, this is like really cool. So when we moved from doing the Combustion to wanting to do like a signature model, which I proposed to the guys, and they were like, yeah, this seems to be working really well. They were getting lots of people inquiring about playing the Combustion for metal, which was a new thing at that, you know, for them. So I said, well, if we're going to do a bass for me, I think one of the things is I want to have the ability to have that sound. So initially we launched with a 2 pickup bass, but it's like bridge and middle only. Which instantly gave me that sound of like, it's a bit like, I guess, like a Stingray bass, which is like really fat humbucking kind of sound. So that's where we started, and then we moved a little bit later on. We actually started doing 3 pickup models, which are most of what you see here. That was called the NG3. So that is basically like that original bass that I played back in the day. The reason for that is then you still get the bridge and neck parallel, like on a jazz bass kind of thing. So actually it's very flexible. You've got the bridge only, which I now use a lot, bridge and middle in series, bridge and neck in parallel, and neck. And it's just like 4 incredibly usable sounds. It can sound like 4 totally different basses. So that's kind of where we're at now.
Were there the thought of not making a metal only bass only? Was there something that crossed your mind when you were developing it?
I think certainly in the way it looked, what we wanted was to not pigeonhole it too much. Sheldon is really into automotive stuff, into car design, and so we leaned into that. The original ones had quite a prominent carbon fiber looking pickguard. They still have something like that now, but it's not quite as gaudy. But we also came up with the strike through line thing on the pickguard as well. And yeah, the idea was, although it's a signature model, it doesn't say that in many places, just on the control cavity, and it's basically that like that the bass could be used in many styles, and it has been. It's crazy to see some of the places it's turned up. You know, over the years. Amazing. It's been amazing.
When I was a kid, too young to go to concerts, my older sister would come back from concerts and she would talk about, you should have seen the guitar. It was this color, or it was that, or it was this shape. And it almost seemed to me that she was more excited about the visuals of the guitar than the actual concert itself.
Sure.
Maybe that's just the way it's stuck in my mind.
It's interesting though. Yeah, it's a good point.
But when you think about it, when you go to a live event, it's called a show. It's not called a listen.
Yeah.
And so even though sound is really, really important. Aesthetics are important as well.
Yeah.
And so I just love our collaboration and how, we started with the combustion, which you were already playing live. And then you came up with the idea of, okay, why don't we partner with Darkglass? Why don't we make something that fits the tuner aesthetic? I think that really appealed to you at that time.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I remember us making a conscious decision too, to keep it to solid colors.
Yes.
At a time when lots of more premium instruments were leaning into exotic woods and stuff, we kind of had this idea like, actually, no, let's run in the opposite direction. Let's do it pure solid colors and just make them like cool, loud, catchy colors, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think from that end, like it hasn't ended up being like a very metal instrument. Because I mean, I was just saying this, it's shown up in so many places, like pop artists, reggae artists, prog, everything under the sun, really.
Yeah, it was never designed for any specific genre. It was designed to be a tool for a bassist to express their musical ideas and emotions.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't know how the bass would have broken into the market without your association. But I mean, you're at the forefront of a whole new genre of music, and you kind of defined how bass should fit in that music. And so it was just perfect timing that this, with your recording chops.
Thank you. I mean, it was very much, I think, right place, right time kind of thing. Just a really nice confluence of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it still delights me how much this bass is still out there, how many people are playing them still to this day, with relatively little changes made to the fundamental kind of structure of it as well.
The only thing we've done is we've kept refining.
Yep.
Refined the neck shape. We've added carbon fiber. We've added a two-way truss rod.
Yep.
And none of these things, I think, would be a reason in itself to purchase the instrument, but they're almost like Easter eggs where as a musician, you don't even have to know those improvements were put in, but you'll know them because you don't have to adjust your neck.
It's like by the absence of problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.